Hello and welcome to the movie podcast at TIFF. My name is Daniel. I am one of your hosts today, and this is our review of Bros. Joining me, as always, is my bro, Shahbaz. Hello, Shahbaz.
Hello, hello, hello.
How are you doing today?
You know, we're deep in TIFF.
We are deep in the TIFF, as they say.
And, you know, it's our first weekend of TIFF. So today, and what, here's the thing. We don't talk about the weather. I know that. But I do have to say...
Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's about to talk about the weather. Here's the thing. TIFF typically is a little colder, but we've had some... global warming lately. I don't know if you heard about it.
I mean, is global warming really a bad thing if it's giving us nice weather like this?
That's the truth. So I don't know what all those documentaries are about.
I don't know either. I think it looks pretty good so far.
I believe it's a hoax.
Oh.
No, global warming is real. It's a serious issue.
But you're doing well, though. I'm
doing great, man. We were walking around Toronto, our home city here, and enjoying the love of movies that we're seeing from everywhere we go.
There is an electricity in the city right now, which is great.
The Electric City, I believe they call it.
That is not. That is.
They don't call that.
I think that's Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Oh,
they call it the Electric City.
Okay.
No, but we are just loving being at TIFF, and I think being downtown at this time of year, it's crazy how Fan Expo was 2 weeks ago, which felt like we were deep in summer mode still.
Yes.
And then 2 weeks later, it's just like, no, it is fall, but it's still nice weather, and it's TIFF. We're watching amazing movies. We have a lot of incredible reviews out already from TIFF, and we have a lot of them already recorded that are going to be releasing very, very soon. We got some in the bank already, as they say. Sneaky. We got a lot of reviews coming your way. But today we're going to be talking about Bros. We're going to be talking about it very, very soon. But as always, you could catch a lot of new episodes of the Movie Podcast this week because, like we said, it's TIFF season, baby. So we are going full force, watching lots of movies, talking to some incredible people, and meeting a bunch of new friends along the way. We're having a great time. I definitely want to implore you to check out all of our incredible episodes that we've released already. We have some great reviews out right now that you could check out. I really want to push you towards our Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power reviews and interviews if you can. We were very lucky to be able to, head to LA, talk to the cast and creators behind The Rings of Power, a show that we are absolutely loving. And if you're listening to this, on the week of September 10th, you may be seeing us pop up in some other places. So you never know, talking about this show as well too. So we'll be a little sneaky about that one. We'll announce some new stuff very, very soon.
I'm doing the shifty eyes, but you can't hear my eyes shifting.
I could hear them. I can hear. I don't like that your eyes make that sound. No, why do they sound like why do they sound, first of all, like the Predator or really clickers wet. From the last?
My eyes are really wet. They're moist.
Yeah, they're very, very moist. Someone's using Bion Tears, which we're not. Yes. We're not affiliated with. But hey, if you want to sponsor the show, we won't say no.
Some Visine.
Would you prefer Visine?
Well, Maestro Fresh West raps about it in his song "Stick to Your Vision."
Peep the competition. These eyes. All right, we're getting off course here. This is a little
unhinged because we're talking about a very fun film.
Yeah, we are, and we're in a great mood, and I think this is what makes it all the best. Not that we're in bad moods when we
I was like, hold on, Daniel.
No. It's just we
were in a bad mood.
We're having a great time.
Anthony's not here, so that's also why we're.
It's probably why too. No, TIFF. We have a wonderful time at TIFF. We're having a great time, and I think just being able to watch all these incredible films and be able to talk about them, and then to the creators as well, it's an amazing. So we're so happy to be doing it. I just want to make sure before we get to our review, I want to remind you, please make sure you're following us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Letterboxd at The Movie Podcast. Join our Discord. We're having some great conversations in there. Shay's been really great with posting a new question of the day, which I've been trying to convince him to make the question of the day. What do you want the question of the day to be?
One day. I'm thinking about also kind of scaling it back, maybe making a question of the week.
Question of the week, I feel like, remember when we were doing topics of the show every week?
Yeah.
I feel like then we're like, oh shoot, we have a lot of topics.
I'll be honest, I don't know if I have 365 questions.
Times how many years we plan on doing this show. Yeah,
so
it's a lot.
Maybe I'll jump to question of the week.
Yeah, why don't we make it like one of the days of the week, like, question of the week, Monday. We'll make Monday our question of the week, and then we have the week and we'll
talk about it in our Discord channel, which you can join.
Yeah, why don't tomorrow's question, how do you guys feel about making question of the week, question of the day, question of the week?
Damn, that's true.
There we are. That's using our platform for good, I think.
That's true.
Also, if you're watching this on YouTube or listening to this on YouTube, please make sure you subscribe, like that video, ring the notification bell. There's some other YouTube slander that we could say as well too. Not slander.
Not slander.
Not slander.
Slang. Yeah.
Not slander.
Don't slander us on YouTube.
No slander. I mean,
we already get enough of that.
We get a lot of slander on YouTube.
Yeah,
no, please
just subscribe.
Subscribe is the big one.
Ring the doorbell.
ring the doorbell, come on in. You had a great anecdote the other day, Shay, where you're just like, if you love us, great. If you hate us, that's okay too, but the door's always open, and I like that. Open.
People come and go,
and I that stuck with me a lot. So yeah, please check out all of our incredible episodes and stick around. We have a great community of movie lovers and show lovers and just entertainment lovers here on the Movie Podcast.
A lot of lovers.
A lot of lovers. A lot of bros. But yeah, we have a lot of TIFF reviews coming your way, so stay tuned for all of that, including our reviews for Pearl, The Whale, Raymund and Ray. We have Weird Al, the review out now too, and we have a lot more big films coming your way. And lots of other cool stuff this week too, so stay tuned for all of that.
And if you just had a chance to watch Barbarian this weekend, maybe you should check out our interview with Zach Kreger.
I think you definitely should do that. Thank you for the reminder, Shahbaz.
No, I just want to say, because this is a great film. We've been getting a lot of people coming in telling us, hey, we watched Barbarian because you guys kept talking about it so much.
What's wrong with you guys?
Yeah. and the first thing that we responded with so far is go watch our interview.
Yeah, go watch our interview. Spoiler warning for that one. So we do get into some spoilers with Zach, so look forward to that. But today, the film that we are talking about is Bros. This film is going to be releasing on September 30th, but right now it is playing part of the Toronto International Film Festival. It stars Billy Eichner, Luke Macfarlane, T.S. Madison, Monica Raymund, Guillermo Díaz, Guy Branum, and Amanda Bearse. And like I said, yeah, this film is also written by Billy Eichner, who obviously from Billy on the Street. Billy on the Street, and obviously who's the voice of Timon on in The Lion King, the live action remake.
Yeah.
And it's directed by Nicholas Stoller. And we were actually lucky enough to see the entire cast and Nicholas and Judd Apatow, who's a producer on the film, at TIFF as well, doing a live press conference right after the screening.
They were doing the press conference live on Twitter. And yeah, it was like us and maybe like 10 other people in that room just kind of like with them. It was pretty crazy.
It was really, really cool. And it was just amazing hearing about, how this film got made. And obviously we're going to be talking a lot about it right now. But Shay, I would love for you to give us that sweet synopsis. And it's a very sweet and short synopsis for the film Bros. Like the title, it's very short and sweet.
This fall, Universal Pictures proudly presents the first romantic comedy from a major studio about two gay men maybe, possibly, probably stumbling towards love. Maybe they're both very busy.
From Marty Wolf Pictures. That's a Big Fat Liar reference.
That was a Biffle.
Yeah, that was a Biffle. You're right, Penny. The truth, it ain't overrated.
It ain't overrated.
Damn, what a great movie too.
What can I say? I got big feet.
Again, they're all Universal Pictures, baby. So
that's true. It all
we're
works.
just going with it.
Why do you think baby a lot?
I don't know.
You're saying baby a lot, eh?
I've said it.
You're turning Hollywood on us.
Listen,
hey, it's all good, baby. Don't worry about it.
Baby. I've caught myself saying baby a lot over the last couple weeks, and I don't know where it's coming from. But sometimes I say it, and I feel like I could pull it off sometimes.
Sometimes you can't, but I didn't appreciate it yet today when we were at TIFF, and he said, "Can you grab me a water, baby?" And you slapped my ass, and I was like, "Whoa, hey!"
Whoa. I was like, "Hey, we're bros.
Hey, what's going on?"
No.
And I did my New Yorker accent that moment.
Yeah, hey, he stinks, and I don't like him. Well, this show is just we're having a good time today.
Yeah.
Shay, let's I was gonna say who's gonna do the first reaction, and I think I'll just kind of get things going,
please,
and then you could jump in the water because the water's fine.
Yeah, start the car for me.
Yeah, start the car for you. Bros is a romantic comedy that I think, right out the gate, I'm just going to say that this is probably one of my favorite romantic comedies in recent years. Mm-hmm. And I say that as just, I think this sphere of filming and streaming have given us a lot of romantic comedy-like films.
Right.
But nothing that's iconic as like You've Got Mail or Sleepless in Seattle, When Harry Met Sally. Like films like that people to this day love and look at and remember. And I think in recent years, probably the last romantic comedy, even though it wasn't super comedic, Crazy Rich Asians is another one, which that comes to mind.
I thought it was pretty comedic.
It was, but this is, I think, more of a comedy.
Yes,
where
that one was like a dramedy.
Dramedy, right? But it's like films like that I think we're starting to get stories where it's just not like let's tell a unique story. Let's tell a unique story from a unique point of view. And I think what Bros does so well is that it feels so authentic. Mm-hmm. And when we were hearing the press conference today, this is the first, major studio film about a gay relationship. Mm-hmm. And then you have Billy Eichner, who is gay, who also wrote the film, and the cast and a lot of the crew were part of the LGBTQ community, which I think is pretty amazing. And you're able to tell a story that's very unique, but so relatable. And I think that's what we kept talking about after we left this film, is that, yes, this is a story about two men who are figuring out their relationship. But me, as a straight man, I could relate to this because you've gone through all of these different scenarios before.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's what I love so much about it. And what I think resonates so much is this is a story, this is a romantic comedy, but this is just a story about love and finding yourself in love and finding, like, just going on a journey of finding who you are in life. And I think that's relevant now more than ever.
Yeah, when you talk about romantic comedies or just, romance films in the last little while, I think what I loved about this film was that I could never predict kind of where it was going. Like, I kept trying to think of the classic tropes that a romantic comedy would have, like the big reveal here or the big fight there. And the movie never really did those things. So that's why it kept me on my toes in the way that I didn't expect. The last film that, ironically also a Apatow produced film, was The Big Sick for me. That kind of like, it subverted a lot of my expectations of what I thought a comedy or a story could kind of go down. And I didn't like that movie. I love the story that movie told, and I love the story that this movie told. And like you said, yes, we're two straight men who really, the connections that I was finding in this film was that I've met people like this, or I've been in relationships where the other person has a lot of these qualities and a lot of these traits, and can I pull from them? And that's kind of what I loved about this movie, is that I could see myself in a lot of these scenarios and situations that were being presented on screen. What I also loved is I've never seen something like this on screen. Really, we don't a lot of the conversation that was brought up during the press conference was that most films that are about LGBTQ plus folks they're always depressing. They're always just very like miserable movies.
Yeah.
And they have to have the worst time of their lives. But they're just people like us. So why can't they just have a normal fun comedy? And that's exactly what this is. This is just a romantic comedy about two gay men. But everything is just so normal. It isn't like how it's presented all the times, but it isn't like how it's presented when you have straight people playing gay people in movies.
Right. And I think that's a recurring joke in the film as well too, where it's like, they'll poke fun at a lot of films and a lot of shows that, will have, a person who is straight in real life, having the as they said, like the gay pain, the gay pain that they play. And it's so true when you see that, or like they'll be like, oh, like you'll have like a lot of times in films, in romantic comedies, people from the LGBTQ community will be relegated to, the gay best friend or the sassy best friend or something like that. And it's like, but like these are just like tropes and stereotypes that sure exist in this movie as well, but they exist in a more authentic way because it's not the only portrayal of them in this film.
Right.
You have a range of people in this film and different personalities and from different like identities that are being shown. So when you have people that maybe conform more to those stereotypes that we've seen in other films, it's because at the end of the day, they still want to tell a romantic comedy story that's funny and has like these familiar tropes, but they're going to flip them on their head a little bit or show them in reality of how they really are. Right. And I think that's what's really was special. And what I really liked about this too, Billy Eichner's character, he is a little bit of a, high strung, like his very to himself, very his kind of.
He's always angry.
He's always angry. He's always kind of like he calls himself very selfish in his life, emotionally unavailable type thing. But when you are seeing those kind of walls start to break down, you see him for who he is, and it's just somebody who at the end of the day still he wants love and he wants to be loved and he wants to be needed, and you see that insecurity of that I am this way because I'm very insecure about myself, right?
Exactly. And I loved his co-star in the film, Luke Macfarlane.
Oh great. Canadian as well, and I think there was something about him. There was this earnestness about him that like I immediately fell in love with, and I loved seeing him on screen because the way he balanced Billy Eichner's character was very obvious because it's something that they kept bringing up. They're like, no, you're one of those gay guys who's just into other macho, like bodybuilding like gay bros,
guys, like bros,
frat bros.
So you wouldn't be into someone like me. And that's a continuous theme throughout the film. And it's just how Luke's kind of battles that stereotype and keeps trying to push through it while discovering himself that I really, really liked. And I just couldn't help just falling in love with these two people, seeing them on screen. And you're just rooting for them the whole time. You're like, I really hope they end up together.
I want them to make it work.
You want them to make it work, because obviously, just like in any relationship, there are ups and downs. And when the downs happen, you're like, God, I really hope you pull through.
Yeah, they can make it work.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that this film dealt with the different personalities that we see, because again, like we said, in so many films we'll see a gay person who is just the best friend, or it's just very stereotypical, or just very cliche of what this archetype of a gay person is. And it's like what I love so much about Bros is that you're seeing, all these different personalities showcased on screen. And like you have like Luke's character, who's very macho and strong, and from the outside, as somebody who's watching or somebody in that world, they wouldn't even like perceive him to be gay, because he doesn't fit that mold of what people think a gay person should look like.
Right, exactly.
Right? And then you balance that with Billy Eichner's character, who's just totally opposite of that. Not that he's not in shape or anything like that, but they play with their like just the stereotypes of their bodies and stuff like that. And I like that. And I really like too that we got into the idea of like these identity politics that even within the world of the LGBTQ community that they deal with when they're dealing with like non-binary and trans and bisexuals and lesbians. And like we're like, this film does a great job of balancing all of that and showcasing just these identities and even the conflicts they have within the
drama within, which is really funny. Like you have Jim Rash's character who in the movie is bisexual. I'm just remembering all the funny moments because I love Jim Rash, and he was there today as well. But it was just, there's so many moments where it's the board meeting, and it's literally for the museum that Billy Eichner is helping open up for the LGBTQ plus modern museum, I believe it was called.
In New York City.
In New York City. And you have the board members of that museum who are obviously, each one of them is a part of the LGBTQ community. There's trans, you have non-binary, you have bisexual, you have lesbian, you have gay. And it's just, those moments were so fun to watch because it was like a meeting of the minds, really. And they're kind of going back and forth. And you can see that they have one goal, but the way they want to reach this goal is so unique, and I really enjoyed that subplot in this film, because sometimes you have a subplot involving a specific character in a romantic comedy that really doesn't feel like it's tying into anything, or it's really bogging down the story. This really felt like it helped with both the characters, even though Luke's character wasn't really that involved in that. It was helping shed light on what he could be going through. And I think that's what I really enjoyed about it, is that everything about this film felt so connected. Yeah,
it really did. And I think just, those board meeting scenes were so funny.
Now, I do have a criticism, though.
Criticism is what we like to hear sometimes, Shay.
And I think this is something that happens a lot with Judd Apatow's productions, where sometimes I feel like they go on a little bit too long. Like some of the pacing can really drag on a bit. And there's moments where I'm like, I feel like we could have cut this out, or we could have maybe sped this scene up a little bit, because the movie clocks in just under 2 hours, about 5 minutes under. And you're kind of looking at like, okay, maybe we could have done maybe 10 minutes less, because there's some moments that are dragging on a little bit. There's some scenes that add on a little bit too much that don't need to be there, and we kind of linger on some moments a little bit too long. So that's just what I would say. Maybe a little bit more editing could have been done to remove some of that and keep the pace moving. Yeah,
I think I'm right there with you. I think this film could have been easily maybe 5 to 10 minutes shorter, and that just tightening up some scenes, maybe like trim some scenes to go shorter. Again, because they, some scenes kind of are just, they'll go on, and I'm like, this is great, but I think you got the message across without that. But I think you definitely do feel the pacing a little bit in the middle, and I feel like that was also the case when we were talking about the Weird Al film, which is a very different movie than this. But it's just in the sense of once we start to see a relationship happen, that's where things usually start to slow down, because you're starting to kind of develop that more, and it's not pushing the pace or pushing the movie forward more. The other thing that I would say in this film that I wish we got to see more, because it was kind of set up a lot earlier in the film, is that Billy Eichner's character is like this
very famous, well-known podcast host.
Right. Yes.
And then
I forgot about that.
never came back again.
No, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of forgot about that.
Right.
I should have remembered since we're podcasting right now.
Right.
But it is a pivotal moment, literally, to open the film, and then from there, it's never discussed again.
Like we'll see it. There's another scene later on, but it's like, oh, I felt like this could have been like something funny to go back to, or at least not to be brought up again, because then we just see Billy Eichner's character dealing with the museum.
Right.
So I was more like, did he have to be? Because we even see there's a scene in the film where like somebody asked to take his picture with him. It never happens again in the film.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like I thought, especially because he was celebrating 1 million subscribers,
which is a lot. Yeah.
It's a lot of subscribers. So
I feel like a lot of that stuff maybe is left on the cutting room floor.
Yeah. So I feel like maybe we should have cut back to this guy's basically a celebrity.
Yeah.
And we didn't really discuss it anymore.
Yeah.
Or reference it. So I thought maybe would have been cool to revisit that subplot. So I just noticed, I'm like, oh, we never really addressed this anymore.
Because as podcasters, we know that the daily life of a podcaster is, we're always kind of thinking about this. We're always thinking about a show. We're always somehow incorporating a show. We're writing notes. Where it's a personality eventually.
Right.
This is what it becomes. So to see that personality incorporated into Billy Eichner's character would have been nice.
Yeah.
Because it really, again, felt like just a story point to start the story, because they needed to give him a personality, but we don't see that part of the personality kind of exist beyond that moment.
Yeah, so just like, oh, this is what he does, and then the museum is like a side thing, and then the museum is like the majority of the film.
Because I could literally see him like scenes like that we were watching in the movie now that I'm replaying in my head, of him maybe on his phone, maybe just recording a voice note or something, like how we do when we're like, oh, we have
remember this,
remember this, like just moments of like, well, I have a show to record.
Yeah,
so
or him.
There
there was like a moment of even him like. Not again. We're not writing this movie. We're not the writers of this film. But like, I'm like, oh, like in the beginning, I'm like, oh, is there going to be something where is he going to talk about on his show something that's going on with the relationship,
right.
And then
he hears
that they're not going to be upset. I'm like, oh no, it's kind of like this just happens, and then we're going to forget about this plot point.
Yeah, and I did forget about it. I'll be honest.
Yeah. So yeah, just that. But again, such a great time, and again, like we're not really giving our final reviews like we typically do with a film. Even though this film is coming out at the end of the month, you will be able to go see this in the theater. We will give our final thoughts on it though, and I do think if you do have time to watch this at TIFF, do it, because I think you're gonna have a great time with it, obviously, and then go see it in theaters, because this is a film that is great with an audience. Yeah. I think it's going to play really well with a packed crowd. And it's just fun. And I think it's a romantic comedy that's so relevant. It's so authentic. And it's one of probably one of the best romantic comedies I could think of in recent years. It is up there with The Big Sick for me. It's up there with The Crazy Rich Asians as a landmark of, this is a story that it's taken so long for a story like this to be told. Again, when we're in the year of 2022 and we're still getting, this is the first time a major studio has done this, you're just like, is it really? And you're just like, that's crazy. Go support this film. It deserves it. It's a great time in the theaters. It's hilarious. And you're going to have a great time with it. Shay.
All I'm going to say is this is a gay old time.
I like it. I do like that. That's good. I like that a lot. Thank you so much for listening to the movie podcast review of Bros. Don't forget, we are at TIFF for the next week. Could be a year. It feels like a very long time that we are here in the TIFF dungeon, but we're having a great time, and we have a lot of incredible interviews and reviews coming your way. So make sure you support all of that. Make sure you look for all of that, and make sure you follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Letterboxd at The Movie Podcast. Check out our show notes for all of those links and more. We have some big surprises coming your way. That was this time with The Movie Podcast, and we'll see you next.